Growing up, knowing very little about financial literacy, taught very little other than save, I really had my ups and downs with personal finance. But what I've really come to realize is that truly healthy financial literacy is not only about what you are doing, but it's almost equally as much about what you're not doing. Today, I want to share with you 6 practices that my family has intentionally chose to not engage with in order to offer us and empower us to the greatest extent when it comes to our financial lives, that we can live a true life of intention and freedom. These financial decisions, while not easy, have allowed our family to really step back from the prescribed rat race and have intention about the way that we want to live instead of just mindlessly spending every dollar that comes into our bank account simply because it's there. Because at the end of the day, this type of spending and way of managing your finances really just takes away so much agency and choice when it comes to how you are choosing to live your life. Some of these things we've had to learn the hard way, and some of them have been very sage pieces of advice from people that we look up to that are a little bit further down their financial freedom and financial literacy journey than we are. Hi, welcome here. If you are new to my channel, my name is McCall, and on this channel, we talk all things making money online, then what you do with that money to be intentional and wise so that you can live in a life of intention and freedom. So let's get into one, which is we do not maximize our spending. So what exactly does this mean? This means that our family does not stretch our finances to their ultimate limit. This is particularly important when it comes to those bigger purchases in life, things like houses and cars or any other large things, especially if you're going to have to take out some sort of loan in order to do it. A lot of times when people are looking to make these types of purchases, they only look at it as far as what they can afford from a monthly payment standpoint. Meaning that, for example, when they go to get approved for a home, they'll go to the bank and they'll have their household income, and the bank will approve them for a certain amount of money. And then they'll go out and try and find a home that goes almost to the limit of what they're approved for. Same with a car. But what they fail to take into account is the additional costs above what those estimated monthly payments are going to be. Now, certain types of insurance and taxes may be estimated in there. They might not factor in things like cost to upkeep the home. And so oftentimes they leave themselves no wiggle room between what they can actually afford and what their monthly payment is going to be. So for our family, while we could technically afford a certain level of home, we intentionally went much below that threshold in order to not be house poor and be spending all of our monthly payments on a mortgage. That's usually one of the biggest expenses in your life. And now all of a sudden you are stuck at that same job that's paying that same amount in order to just maintain and be able to pay your monthly mortgage payments. The same can go for if you're renting, what your monthly payment will be. And then also this really similar idea when it comes to cars. So our family does something where we only buy used cars in cash. So we save up, and then as we need a new car, we go ahead and pay cash. And that way we don't have a monthly payment for that, which is so nice. And B, again, there's going to be no interest going on with the car. The less number of monthly payments that you have, the less of a burden is on your shoulders to be maintaining and keeping, and the more agency and choice and freedom you have when it comes to things like switching jobs, starting entrepreneurial endeavors, scaling back, having a parent stay home. All of those other choices are now much more available to you. For our family, we tried to choose from the very beginning a lifestyle that one income could support if we wanted. So even when my husband and I were both working traditional 9 to 5 jobs, we were trying to live as if we only had one income coming in. And we knew that one day we wanted children and we wanted to have the ability for me to stay home, to homeschool them, and to be able to start my entrepreneurial endeavors. Not only when it comes to choice, but there are just realities of things that happen in life. Things like job loss, layoffs, or just needing to change jobs in order to relocate. So when it comes to not maximizing your spending, it's actually more than just crunching the numbers. Crunching the numbers is great, but this is actually a larger question of just simply reducing or trying to even eliminate certain financial stress from within your relationship and family dynamics. Okay, number 2, the second thing that we do not do is routinely outsource beauty and hygiene services. Now, for me, this is easier. I've never been one to have to routinely get my hair done, my nails done, my lash extensions done, my teeth professionally whitened. I've just never that desire to have an external a standard of beauty. Now, if you are into these things, I'm not trying to dog that. And at the end of the day, you will have to decide for yourself and your personal family finances where you are going to spend your money. Because the truth is that we all have areas that we like to spend a little bit more. For our family, that's things like organic produce, grass fed meat. When it comes to our grocery bill, I don't have as much of a concern in spending money in that area. But when you're looking at your budget, you can choose one area where you have a little bit more wiggle room. Where it's going to become sustainable is when you're trying to apply that mindset to all areas of your budget. Now, the beauty category was easy for me because A, I'm just naturally not into it, but B, I started calculating the numbers. And this isn't to say I never go out. If I have a friend getting married or girls want to do this for a girls' day, of course I go out with them and get a pedicure. But this is not some routine thing where I get my nails done every 4 weeks, my hair done every 8 weeks, my lashes done every 2 months, right? Because when you start calculating the numbers, these things add up extremely fast. I have friends that spend multiple hundreds of dollars a month on these types of services, and that's before we're even talking anything like Botox or fillers. And the truth is that for many of these things, if I do want them done, I can do them at home. For example, if I wanted my nails done, they're not done right now, but I could do them at home. I would probably consider myself in the anti-aging movement, meaning that there's so much pressure on women out there already to look a certain way throughout their whole life, when in reality, there is a reality to aging. And I think that women should be allowed to age gracefully and in a natural way without having to look fake and spend thousands and thousands of dollars a year in order to keep up a standard that I'm not even sure how it got there in the first place. Okay, number three, the thing that we do not do as a family is to fall for lifestyle inflation creep. I think we've probably all heard of this one. So as your income increases, so does this temptation to increase your spending proportionally. However, we've really learned to resist the temptation to increase our lifestyle as our income has increased in most areas of our life. And no, this isn't easy. And yes, of course, we do treat ourselves in some areas, but we always at least try and ask ourselves a question first. That's the key. Ask yourself and make a purchase decision with intention. So we're always trying to ask ourselves, is this truly something that we need? Or is this more of, wow, we have all this money all of a sudden and it's burning a hole in our pocket, basically? Like people can really fall into this trap, I think, maybe around tax return time, if they come into an unexpected inheritance. It's just good to ask yourself the question before automatically spending the money. When we get our tax return, for example, instead of just spending on something random or frivolous, we really like to be intentional and think about the way that we want to spend that money. And one thing that's really important for us is investing on our children's behalf so that they have all of these choices available to them before they even get to an age where they have to be working a job. Those are choices that were not given to us as a family, and we really want to give that to our children. So one thing about investing, which we're actually going to talk to, spoiler alert, in a little bit, is that you either need a lot of time in the market or a lot of money. And the good thing about our kids is they have a lot of time. And so one way that you can do this is invest on your children's behalf into a regular brokerage account called a custodial account or a UTMA account. There's a lot of different verbiage out there for that, but we love to buy like a share of VTSAX for our kids when they're born, for example, and just put that into a Vanguard account and let it ride. And so that's a really exciting way when we, for example, get our tax return or some other kind of unexpected lump of money. Because I once read somewhere that $1 spent today would be worth $22 in the future if you didn't spend it. And so that always just really boggles my mind. And we're gonna talk about investing here for just a minute, but all I'm trying to say is don't fall for that lifestyle inflation creep. One last point I want to make on this one is that, of course, it is a balance. We want to also be enjoying our lives because tomorrow is not promised, right? Saving for the future and living in today is most certainly a balance. So it's not that we never go out to eat. It's not that we never get a new outfit or something. But one thing that we do really enjoy as a family is travel. And so that's one way that we choose to spend our money that is more in a today realm than a future realm. But it's all about having that intention behind the spending. It's not that you can never spend it. It's just asking yourself that question first and having that intention instead of automatically saying, hey, we have this disposable income left at the end of the month. Hey, we got this tax return. And just spending it automatically. It's about putting the intention there at the beginning. Okay, so number four, a little bit of a spoiler alert earlier, but we do not ignore invest. I understand that investing can seem very overwhelming. if you are just getting started. But the truth is, you only need to know some of the very basics in order to see massive success in the long run with investing. Investing truly isn't optional when it comes to securing your financial future. You do not need to be a day trader or a financial Wall Street guru or a finance bro in order to be successful with financing. I forgot my book, but I'm going to put a picture right here. You really just need to read the book Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. It's an incredible book. It breaks down investing for anyone. You can literally take action as you're reading the book. You don't have to be Warren Buffett guessing what stock is going to blow up next, right? It's all about, like I said earlier, time in the market and dollar cost averaging, which means putting your money in like over time, right? Not trying to time the market. And if you can do those things and you can just ride it out, that's all you really need to know about investing. But please read that book. It will take you a couple of hours. It'll be like some of the best time that you've ever spent. It will give you the confidence when it comes to putting your money into the stock market. And no, the advice in this book is not like sexy or amazing, but it's simple, right? Because investing means that your money is working for you 24/7, 365 days out of the year. It's these small repetitive actions. Especially if you put it into auto pay, as soon as you get paid, a certain chunk just goes over into your investments. So you don't even think about it. It's not even coming out of your bank account. That's probably going to be the way that you're going to be most successful. It's these small repetitive motions that are going to ensure your success over the long run. The truth is that there's no financially secure, financially independent person out there that doesn't invest. You have to find a way to do it. And if it feels scary to you, read that book and then just start small. That's going to be the easiest way to go ahead and just get started. Okay, number 5, the thing that we do not do is we do not compare our financial journey to others. In today's constant barrage of social media, it is so easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others in so many aspects of life, but one of them can also be finances. But the truth of the matter is, what on social media is not actually necessarily always the reality. It's sometimes the people that look the most well off in their Instagram reels that are struggling financially. They're in huge amounts of debt in order to drive that fancy car that they're always showing off. I've also heard of influencers like renting out private jets, renting out fancy cars in order to have a certain appearance when that's not actually the reality of their finances. So, A, it might not even be true. And then B, even if someone's making a lot of money, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're keeping a lot of money. I actually saw a pretty well known influencer be very vulnerable recently. It was about a month ago. And she was saying how she makes over $400,000 a month with her business coming in from her social media, but that up until January of this year, she had almost nothing to show for it. Like she certainly did not have a net worth of $1 million. And I was really proud of her for saying that and shedding some light on this because the reality is just because you're making a lot of money, that's just only step one. It does matter to some degree how much you're making. That's true. But what matters just as much is what you're doing with that money in order to secure it. And then see, the truth is that we all just live different lives. We all face different setbacks and different challenges in our life. I think I mentioned earlier, I wasn't taught anything about personal finance growing up. There's people that start even later in life than we do. And that's okay because we don't know what we don't know. Honestly, if it wasn't for a particular professor that I had in college who just had these like after hour open lecture halls on personal finance, and like barely anyone showed up. With my husband and I, we were dating at the time, we would show up together and we'd take notes. It was like every Monday night for a semester. That's where I learned anything and everything I know about personal finance. But that was just luck that she was in our lives and was willing to do that. If you're not where you want to be when it comes to your personal finances, take a deep breath. You can only do what you know how to do. So I just want to commend you for watching videos like this one and others on YouTube to improve yourself. If you're even like maybe later in life or further along, it's never too late to start. Once we know better, then we do better. So I want to commend you for wanting to know what to do. But now it's the simple act, or maybe not so simple act, of putting those actions into place. The truth is that we can't change our past or the way we grew up or what classes or professors we happen to have or not have in high school or college or in our community center or through our church. But what we can do is take baby steps moving forward. Another really important factor to consider is that financial success looks really different for a lot of different people. I would encourage you to sit down by yourself if it's just you, and then again together if you have a partner or a family, and talk about what your financial success means to you, journal or talk about as a family, and then write it down. There's something really powerful about actually writing it down to help keep it at the forefront of your mind and your goals as a family or even as an individual doing this. It's really powerful. And how are you going to get somewhere that you don't even know what that means to you? Have a little fun session, pour yourself a coffee or a tea, sit down, journal it out, talk about it as a family. What does financial success mean to you? Because you won't be able to get there unless you have an actual vision of where you're trying to get. For us, it means spending a vast majority of our time together as a family. And so putting these steps into place allow me to leave my 9 to 5 job, focus around our family, makes our family the highest priority of our lives, and start my entrepreneurial endeavors, which have been so exciting. And so that success to us is having our family time together. But for others, it might be something a little more flashy, and that's okay too. And that leads me to number 6, which is that our family does not just accept societal norms without question. So, what do I mean by that? We literally question everything. We were asking the question, do I want, or does it even make financial sense for me to be at work to then pay someone else to raise our children? Or do we want the white picket fence? Do we want our family just scarfing down the standard American diet of processed food every evening? Or does nourishing, delicious food enjoyed around a dinner table rank high enough in our priority lists to also have the time available in our day in order to do that? Does having a 9 to 5 for the entirety of the 18 to 65 age range, trading time for money, make sense for us? And there might be seasons where some of these questions are yes, and some of these questions are no. Some of these, your family may come to the answer of yes, and that's okay. Again, it's just more about having the discussion and the intention behind it instead of just following it because it's the prescribed path. Anything and everything that society has tried to shove down families' throat, we at least ask the question. And sometimes the answer is yes, and that's okay. But if the answer is no, it allows us to make some hard decisions in order to rearrange our priorities. If you would like more information about the different income streams I was able to build in order to leave my job, this video here I just published, it was the 6 streams of income that allowed me to fire my 9 to 5 job. So I would really encourage that if you're just curious about, like, obviously start with these 6 steps and asking these questions. But if you're like, okay, so we're going to stop the flow of money out here, but how do I increase the flow of money here? Check out the video. I think there could be some helpful information for you there. And at the end of the day, our family, and I'm guessing your family as well, wants to live in accordance with your values. I call this active living instead of passive living. The journey to financial literacy is incredibly empowering and transformative. It does take both intention and discipline, but it is completely worth it in the end. And this journey often teaches you as much what to do as what not to do. The 6 practices I listed here have been instrumental to shaping our family's outlook on both finances and just life in general. If you like all things making money online, being wise with that money so you can embrace a life of intention and freedom, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel here. Check back often. We have great videos coming out that I hope will empower you to make life-changing decisions. And together, let's embrace the power of being financially literate, because at the end of the day, this is the only way to have true, unencumbered choices and power over our own lives.